everyone, today I'm here to discuss with you my favorite chick lit books. First of all, chick lit, it's a very weird category. They call it women's fiction too. Why they call it women's fiction? Because anybody can read it? I don't know. Chick lit to me is honestly like funny type of just cute books, I guess you would call. I don't know why there's a chick lit category, but regardless, I looked up all of these books that I'm talking about today on Goodreads, and the first category for them was honestly chick lit, so that's how I counted them as chick lit. And some of these, I honestly don't know if I consider them chick lit, but I still want to talk about them anyway. Now, I will say I have not read a ton of chick lit. Maybe you'll disagree with me, maybe not, I don't know, but I just want to show you my favorites that I have. And some of them you probably heard me talk about countless times, but let's just do it anyway, why not? So the majority of these books are actually written by a particular author, so I will talk about the authors, and I'll talk about my two favorite books by them, so just so you know. So the first author I want to talk about should come as no surprise because she is my favorite chick lit author, and that is Sophie Kinsella. I have talked about Sophie Kinsella a lot on my channel recently because I've done actually a video on all of her books. Like, I talked about every single one of her books in detail, so if you want to check that out right there. But the two I want to recommend you is I've Got Your Number. This is my favorite Sophie Kinsella book. It is about a girl that is engaged, but then she loses her engagement ring, and then in a hunt to find her engagement ring, she loses her cell phone, and she finds the cell phone, and she starts talking to this other guy, and they try to help each other with their situation, and it's just a really, really cute, funny book. As always with Sophie Kinsella books, I highly recommend you listen to them. The audiobooks are amazing. This is just so funny, so cute, definitely very romantic. I love this one. And the other one I want to recommend you by her is actually her latest release, and that is My Not So Perfect Life. Again, I listen to this. I will always listen to Sophie Kinsella books because they are just amazing in audio format. This is about a girl that's fired from her job, and she has to move back home, and she helps her dad and her stepmom open this glamping business, and it's about her trying to find her place in the world with her career, with herself, you know, how does she identify herself with things, and it's just a really, really awesome book about discovering yourself. This is not so much romantic. It definitely does have some swoon-worthy romance in it, but it more focuses on the character and the main character. It's very character driven, but I love it. It's her latest release, and it's one of my favorites by her. So if you're interested in checking out Sophie Kinsella, I would highly recommend these two books because they're both very, very funny. Sophie Kinsella knows how to write humor, and it's just hilarious, and they both have some great swoon-worthy romance, and the main characters are awesome. So I love Sophie Kinsella. Just love her. The next author I want to talk about is Jojo Moyes, and I'm not going to recommend me before you because that book does not make me smile a lot. It makes me cry, if I'm honest with you. The two books I'm going to recommend to you by her are 1+1, as well as The Last Letter from Your Lover. 1+1 is probably her lightest book, but then again, I haven't read all of her books. I've only read 4 of them. I've read Me Before You, After You, 1+1, and The Last Letter from Your Lover. I know I haven't read like 5 of them, so forgive me, but 1+1 is definitely a lighthearted book. It's about a woman that is trying to get her daughter to this math competition, and she ends up writing with this guy, and it's all about a very family-driven book, which I really admire and I really, really enjoy. It's definitely very funny, so I love this one. It's definitely lighthearted, so if you're worried because you've read Me Before You and you're like, everything Jojo writes is going to be a sob fest, that's not necessarily true. This is definitely a very lighthearted book that is just really, really funny and really, really cute. The other one I want to recommend to you is The Last Letter from Your Lover. This is a definitely serious more one. This might make you cry. It's kind of has a mysterious note to it as well. It's about a woman that wakes up from a coma and she can't really remember the last couple years of her life, and she finds this box of letters from her lover, so she's trying to uncover the mystery of who this guy is and what happened with that, because she is married now and has a daughter, and things are a little bit rocky with that. It is a very, very good book. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did, but I love this book. I think this might be my favorite by her because it was just so good. So if you're looking for Jojo Moyes and you're just worried about the sob factor, these two books are equally amazing and I really, really enjoy them. The next author I want to talk about, I don't know if I would classify her as chick lit. I really wouldn't, but I thought I'd mention it anyway. And that is Moriarty. I'm sure you've heard a lot about her because because one of her books is being adapted to a HBO miniseries, and that is Big Little Lies, which is the first book I'm going to recommend to you. I don't own it. It is all about preschool politics, really. It really focuses on these 3 moms. They each have kids that are in kindergarten, and it follows their life and how things aren't so cookie cutter for them. They're all going through very different things, and it is a very, very lengthy book, but it is really, really good. It really dives into the fact of different family lives. It talks about a lot of deeper issues, which makes me think it's not so much a chick lit book, but it is still such a really good book, and I'm really excited about the miniseries. I heard they changed a lot of things from the book in this miniseries, specifically the fact of our character Madeline, which was my favorite character in the book because I really enjoyed her. They're making her very, very different from the book, and I'm not really happy about the changes they're doing to her. But still, nevertheless, I will recommend Big Little Lies. I really enjoy that one. All of her books have this air of mystery to them. Big Little Lies, there's this murder, and you're trying to figure out through this whole book what happened and who died, but it's not taking place of the whole book. It's just a little kind of back there, if you will. The other one I want to recommend is What Alice Forgot. Definitely her most lighthearted book, I will say. It's about a woman that, again, wakes up from a coma and she can't remember like the last 10 years of her life. She suddenly, her and her husband, who she was madly in love with, are getting divorced. She has 3 kids. She's trying to figure out what happened and she's trying to fix these things. What Alice Forgot is definitely a very funny book. It definitely has a lot of depth to it as well, but I really, really enjoy this one. Both of those books are probably my favorite by Moriarty, and I really, really enjoy her. But I don't know if I would categorize her as chick lit, honestly. I don't know. So that's like an iffy kind of chick lit, maybe. The last author I want to talk about before I get into my singular books is Rowell. She only has 2 adult books, so I'm going to recommend to you both of them. And that is Landline and Attachments. Landline is about a married couple, and their marriage is not going so great. The wife goes home for a visit, and she finds her old phone, her old landline phone, hence the title. And when she picks it up, she realizes that she is talking to her husband in the past before they got married. So it's kind of like has a really cool element of time travel with it, but it's mainly focused on this couple's marriage and how, you know, things are rocky and how they're going to get through it. I really enjoyed Landline. Not a lot of people like it, but I really loved it for the marriage aspect. I found it a very realistic marriage book. A lot of times with marriage books, we have talks about affairs and things like that, and I don't necessarily like reading about those because, you know, I don't know. That's just my personal opinion, but I really enjoyed her depiction of marriage, and I really like this book a lot. And her other one, Attachments, is kind of the polar opposite. This is a very cute, funny book all about a guy who is like an IT guy, and he has to filter through emails and flag them and stuff, and he always finds these 2 girls' emails, and he really falls like an attachment with one of them, and he kind of falls in love with her almost, and it's all about that. It's just a very, very cute book. Like I said, it's told a lot with email perspectives and things like that. I really enjoy this one. It's a very, very cute and funny book. Rowell is an amazing adult author as well as YA author. I love all of her books. They're all amazing. The last 2 books I want to talk about are singular books. The first one I want to talk about is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This might be my newest favorite chick lit book. I love this one. This is her debut novel. It's all about Lucy and Joss, who are 2 co-assistants to co-CEOs of a publishing company, and they hate each other. And throughout this whole book, you learn that maybe they don't hate each other. It is the definition of a hate to love trope, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. This book is definitely very steamy, so definitely not for younger audiences, but it is so cute and so adorable and so romantic and steamy, and I really, really enjoy it. It's definitely my probably new favorite chick lit book, and I can't wait to see what the author is going to put out next because I enjoyed this book a lot. And the last book I want to talk about is The Bookshop on the Corner by Jenny Colgan. Jenny Colgan has written a lot of chick lit books. This is my first book I've actually read by her, and I definitely plan to read more in the future, but I thought I would mention it. This is all about a woman who works as a librarian, and she really loves being a librarian. She loves being able to point to books for certain individuals and find their reading preferences, and she gets laid off and her library shuts down, so she decides to buy this really old van and make it a mobile bookshop, which the title kind of is misleading you because it's like a bookshop on the corner. Which I guess it is because it's a mobile bookshop. It can be on the corner. But she moves to Scotland and she becomes a mobile bookshop. And it is a very, very cute book. And if you are a book lover, I highly recommend reading this book because it'll just make you fall in love with books and reading even more. It does have some romance in it as well. And also it talks about Scotland a lot and it makes me want to move there immediately. I love it so much, and I know I need to read more books by this author for sure. So those are all of my favorite chick lit books. Like I said, I may have read a lot to you, maybe not a lot to you, but I really enjoy all the chick lit I read for the most part, and I really love all of these books. If you have any chick lit recommendations, please leave me down in the comments below. I am always looking for new ones. Like, they are like my, if I'm ever in a reading slump, I either go to contemporary or go to chick lit to get me right on out of it. So I would love any recommendations. If you have read any of these books I talked about today, please let me know down in the comments what you thought as well. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.